this lady from the Dorset Archive Department. She said, your grandmother, Gladys, was actually from Dungannon in Northern Ireland. She was raised in the Borders and was a very proud Scot. Never, ever, ever did she say that originally she was from Dungannon. I knew I had one grand from Limavady in Northern Ireland. I didn't know that they both, as young girls, left Northern Ireland never to return. And as I say, they never got on all the time. I knew my grands, they both lasted till they were 100. They just wouldn't talk hardly. One was a Scot, one was Northern Ireland. And, but no, apparently both from Northern Ireland. So last year, now this is quite a moment for me. I went to Belfast for the first time in my life to sit for the rugby match. And knowing that I had a few days to spare, I contacted a guy called Colm Sands, and Colm Sands and his brother Tommy, they are a major Irish folk family in the north there. And he said, why don't you come down to where we live in Rostrevor, about 30, 40 miles south of Belfast, and I'll organise a little house concert for you. And I'll invite my friends, and my cousins and my family, we all play music, maybe 30, 40 people, and you can just sing in the kitchen there. So, I went down and I sang some songs. And I sang this song called The Galway Farmer for them. Now, I wrote this song originally when Phil and I were playing in pubs, just to get rid of Kilgarry Mountain and Black Velvet Band, because Kilgarry Mountain, you know, Rush or Ring, used to go down better than my stuff. So I thought, I'm going to write a song in a sort of Irish folk style and pass it off almost as a folk song. And then about 5 years ago, I found it on a website of Irish traditional folk songs. So it's out there as a folk song. And rather than doing it as a sort of, I don't know, a sort of throwaway, I did it dead straight that night. I did it almost as a lament about a guy who really wants his luck to change. And they loved it. And I mentioned the fact about my grands, and I also sang a song called Mary from Dunlow, and a song called The Setting. And afterwards, Colin said, you know, Steve's grands never came back, but I think he brought them home with him tonight. And it was a wonderful moment, and I was quite touched to think that as a singer and a writer, in me, they'd returned back home for the first time ever. So since then, I've not been singing this song in the same way. I've been singing it much more, almost as a lament that speeds up rather than a throwaway song. So I hope you like this version. This is a slightly different version of The Galway Farmer that I'll sing in their memory, and also in memory of that night. We ended up losing by a drop goal in the last minute, but that's not the point. I need an extra. I work my days on a Galway farm in the sun and rain, wind and storm. But once a year I'll chance my arm and cross the sea to England. I'll scrimp and save £2,000, and I'll spend the week in Cheltenham town. But the racing over, always down. I come back poor from England. But I dreamed one night before I left, a coal black mare with a white star crest. She crossed the line and beat the rest, and I came back rich to Galway. I rose at dawn and drove all day, thinking, wondering all the way. Lady luck, have you come to stay, or steal away my morning? And when I got to Cheltenham town, there were Irish faces all around. No bed, no mattress there I found, so I slept up on the hillside. I spent 3 days at the viewing ring, and I saw the horses they led in. But just when I was giving in, I stood and stared in wonder. With stamping hooves and steaming breath was a coal black mare with a white star crest. As I ran my finger down the list, I matched the name and number. Lady Luck had come halfway, 'cause the horse's name was Galway Bay. 20 to 1 the odds that day, I went to make my wager. counted out £2,000, held it high and I slapped it down, and the bookie smiled and he made no sound, but I knew what he was thinking. I was the biggest loser in the land, with a pounding heart, shaking hand. I made my way up to the stand and the horses came to order. But at the first she nearly fell, and I cursed this farmer's luck to hell. But the second and third she took quite well, but way behind the leaders. Then moving sweetly from the back, she found the rails and caught the pack. 10 to go, and from the track the hooves were drumming thunder. She's catching horses one by one, bridle flashing in the sun. 8 to go, a mile to run, 2 were up before her. On the straight and down they sped, left one at the last for dead. Caught the next and by a head, she came home the winner. So I came back to this Galway farm a wiser and a richer man. Never again will I chance my arm or cross the sea to England. 'Cause Lady Luck was mine that day. I kissed her mouth and I went my way. Will you raise a glass to Galway Bay and the dreams of a Galway farm?